Hi folks, Neil at AppleiPodParts.com here. New format video that we're rolling out today, and this is one with additional close-ups, just trying to improve our videos for you guys. We're also going to show you the tools as well. So, iPhone 5C with a screen here, rather damaged, and we're going to replace this and show you how. First of all, you definitely need this, a Torx screwdriver. It's like the 5-star pentalobe that gains access to the iPhone. Then a Phillips screwdriver here, the crosshead screwdriver for some of the internal screws. The iSesamo, the fantastic iSesamo, we helped the guys develop this back a few years ago. That helps you open all sorts, and a couple of non-marking tools. These are sacrificial. They're designed to break before you damage anything to do with your Apple device, so they do break. And a pair of tweezers, they are handy. Again, we've got all these tools on our website, and these are brilliant. The iScrews, these basically have a hole for every screw in its place. It's like a road map for screws. It's fantastic. And of course, you need the new iPhone 5C screen, which of course on our website as well. So those are all the tools and the screens that you need. Let's get cracking, so to speak. So at the bottom of the iPhone, we have two sort of 5-star pentalobe screws. First of all, of course, we need to make sure the device is turned off, so that we don't risk damage. So we get the Torx screwdriver, and we unscrew those two screws to access the bottom of the iPhone. Of course, we've got the anti-static wristband on as well, and we're working on an anti-static mat just to prevent any issues with static damage there. It's always good to take those precautions. Static is an invisible killer and can kill your phone without even realising it. So there you go, great little close-up of the little 5-star screws. We're unscrewing those bottom ones. Got to be gentle with those, they're obviously a tiny little screw. And then we drop them into the iScrews. A nice little close-up there, and you can see the little holes that you can drop your screws in, and they're all there, and saves you knocking it and tipping all your screws over. So once you've taken those out, you get the little iSesamo, nice and flexible, nice and thin, and that goes in really gently. Don't go too far, but it just allows you to lever gently up the screen, because there is a couple of clips either side that will just hold the screen in place. There we go. So we lift the screen up, not too far, to about 90 degrees, just under 90 degrees, and then we're going to use the crosshead Phillips screwdriver to remove that plate you see there. There's 4 screws on it, and that holds the screen connectors down. So there you can see the screws that we're going to be removing. Again, they're all different sizes, and you must put these in the correct spots on the iPhone 5C iScrews there, because if you put the wrong length screw in the wrong hole, you will go straight through to the board, and you could damage your phone beyond repair. We've seen this an awful lot. So it's really critical that you get these screws into exactly the right hole, just there, and they stay there, and you know exactly where it goes when you come to rebuild. Absolutely critical, and the iScrews does an amazing job at helping you organise those. You can lay them all out on the table, but if you knock the table or knock the mat, you could end up in a whole world of pain trying to figure out where they all go. There's a nice little diagram on the iScrews there. Once that plate's undone, it just lifts nicely straight off, and you can put it to one side. And then you have the connectors underneath there for the screen. You've got the front camera and loudspeaker cable connector, the digitizer connector for the touch interface, and you've got the LCD connector as well. So using these non-marking tools, we're just going to gently lift these up. And I always say, if you have to force something, then it's not good. Do not force anything. These are so small. Really be gentle with these guys. If you need to take your time, just take your time. It's better than damaging it. So screen assembly comes away, so that's sort of dead easy. Once the connectors are lifted off, the screen is independent of the phone, and you can work on the screen. What we have here is like a screen assembly, so the screen you get from us comes as the screen and the LCD, the glass and everything all in one piece, and we need to cross over all of these parts, these little parts like the back plate, home button and earpiece. We're going to show you that now. So using the Phillips screwdriver, we need to strip down this assembly. One thing we've noticed is that the iScrews doesn't have the allocation for when you strip the screen assembly down. So we're going to use this plastic tray that we've always used on our site. You can buy it on our site, and we use it on repairs as well. And it just gives you little sections to enable you to lay out the screws nice and safely. Again, not on your desktop, so that when you knock it, they don't spill everywhere. So we're going to start with removing the home button. Here we go. So there's 3 screws on this home button, and it's not fingerprint button, so you don't have to take a mega care, but you still need to be careful. So these two screws come off. We put them separately in our little tray, and then there's a little screen plate connector there, connector screw that we're going to lift out as well. What we then go for then is the plate on the back of the LCD ready to remove. So there's two screws on the side, just need removing like so, and then we're going to flip it round and do two on the other side. So we've removed a total of 5 so far, 1 on the bottom and 2 each side, and there's still some more to go at the top. So we've got the plate off the back, there's a couple of screws up there. This whole, that frame there holds the earpiece on. That's that little earpiece speaker, the kind of the square thing that you see underneath. And release all these screws, and it should unsandwich everything. And there's one in the side there, and that should be the last one for the frame. So there you go. Get the iSesamo, and what we need to do is remove the home button. This can be tricky because this little cable is stuck down, so use the absolute utmost care on this. Warming it gently does help. It just frees up the adhesive a little bit, but what you don't want to do is scythe through that cable, because otherwise you're going to have to replace your home button. Yes, you can replace them, but it's not ideal. So once you've lifted that cable off of the plastic frame, the home button comes away, and then you just push through the actual plastic button, and the little rubber gasket that it's surrounded on, that sticks to your new screen, and we'll make sure that's should still be sticky, and if there's any dirt stuck to it, you need to clean that before we build up the next screen. So taking some tweezers, there's a little catch on the side of this bracket that we need to just kind of ping. You see it there, it's a little bit of a catch. Once you release that catch, the earpiece and the bracket comes away, and then what you're left with underneath is the cable, a bit like the home button cable. It's kind of stuck to the frame. Again, being ultra careful. These guys know what they're doing, they do it day in day out, but you need to be tremendously careful. And then once that's freed up, you lift out the actual cable from the frame, but you leave it attached to the plate because it's got that big heat dissipating sticker stuck to it, and you don't really want to be peeling that off. You don't need to. So the LCD back plate you have in your hand, you've got the cable stuck to it at the top with that big sticker. You can put that to one side. So there's the old screen. We've stripped all of the bits that we need off of it, and we can put it to one side. So we get the new screen, and you can get all these tools and screens from our website. Nice little sticker on there that tells you not to bend the cable improperly. And first of all, this is what a lot of rookie repairers do. They leave that plastic bit on, and you really don't need to. So that just is protective. So you peel that off. Sometimes the black layer underneath does start to lift, but obviously part the two and just make sure the black bit stays on the screen. It shouldn't, but sometimes it does. These screens get pretty cold in transit, and sometimes the adhesive doesn't stick too well. So we're going to place the plate down. It will only go one way, and it fits quite neatly into your new screen. The good thing is that the screens that come from us, they come with the rubber earpiece mesh, all integral, so that this next piece, which is like an external microphone, it's like a post, pushes in to the hole in the rubber. Gently, I mean, again, it will find its own way, so don't force it, and it just pushes in, and again, with the cable the way it is, it will find its kind of own way home. You just need to help it there. Push that into the little rubber hole, and then you push the cable gently back over into a position, and you can see where the sticky bit will stick to the frame where we peeled it off of the old frame, and it just kind of stays there by itself. It finds its own way home there. So the home button is the next thing to go, and what we're going to do is flip the screen over and push it in from behind, just so that we can line up the little square symbol on the screen. There's nothing worse than a wonky home button. So once that's in nice and straight, kind of push it from behind, flip it over and just push the rubber down, obviously cleaning it if there's any dirt or glass stuck to it when you removed it from the last one, just giving it but the adhesive should be enough to kind of re-stick it down. And then we're going to go for the home button cable. Again, it sits only in one place, and it'll find its own way home with the little contacts there, and it'll stick to the frame. So gently put those screws back in, as you can see there, and then just give the two contacts on the right hand side are just a little push down to make sure it's stuck to the frame. And yeah, don't over tighten the thing, guys. Doesn't need a great deal, just needs to be firmly in there. And then you're testing it from the other side, just for the nice sort of home button feel, just to make sure it's all there and all working properly. So the earpiece assembly, it's got a little clip so that you put kind of the left hand side clip in, and then you bring it down the right hand side. You remember when I told you about that the clip you've got to release? That's the second thing to go, and you push it down, and that clips in place, and then these two screws just to hold it in position. Then we start putting the frame, the LCD back plate back on, and there's the screw in the top, and then the two screws on the side of the frame. That attaches that to the back plate. And of course you've taken the screws out of the little plastic tray, so you know where they've all come from, which is handy. Especially when you get deeper into the phone, those eye screws become so useful because there's so many different length screws. It's unbelievable, and you wouldn't believe the damage they can do if you put something that's just 0.2 of a mil too long. It touches the circuit board, and it sometimes can go through 2 layers of the board and literally wipe your phone out, and you won't even know what you've done. So finally, the bottom screw in the frame just above the home button. And make sure that's all nice and firm. It looks as it does, and there you go. There's the screen assembly built up. You've done that now, which is fantastic. And we're going to be ready to place that onto the phone. So you're going to bring the iPhone 5C down, and this is the hard bit. They're putting the cables back on. We make it look easy. These guys do it day in, day out, but take your time. I can't be more sort of insistent on that. It's really, really, really take your time. And if you're getting mad with it, go and have a cup of coffee or tea. Take a breather, come back, because there's nothing worse than damaging your phone connectors, because you're in a lot of trouble. Once the connectors are in place, hold the screen with your one hand into about 90 degrees. Put the metal plate on, and it's a bit springy, so you just need a finger on the top. And then what we're going to do is, using the eye screws, and it's telling us exactly where the screws that we put in are going to go, so there's no doubt whatsoever. Each screw then drops into place, does up nice and firmly but not over tight. Doing those 3 first, and you have that top corner one. That screw isn't magnetic for some reason, so that one needs a little bit of sort of tweezering in place and then done up. Once you're happy that all the connectors are down, they've given you that nice little click with the connectors as you push them in, and then you put the plate on and all the screws are in. We then bring the top down. We put the top in place first, a bit like a wedge into the top because it has a little bit of locating, and then gently we work our thumbs all the way down to the bottom of the phone and pushing it in as we go. Again, really gently. If you've got to force it, there's something wrong, there's something amiss. Then finally we get the little Torx pentalobe screwdriver and pick up those 2 so-called security screws into the bottom, and we just nip those up nicely. And again, once you've done that, examine the phone, make sure that the screen's down properly, make sure it looks good, feels good. That's the whole thing about these Apple devices. It's got to feel good. You'll soon know if something's not quite in place. And like I always say in my videos, if you have to force it, take a step back, take it apart, have another look. So there you go, folks. A great new screen on an iPhone 5C. All looks fantastic. Remember that take your time, take it easy, rewatch the video a few times. All the tools and the parts that you need are on our site. All the help is at hand. Go to our website. There's a phone number on the top, but on every single page, or drop us a contact form and we'll do our best to help you in any way, shape or form. We're here to help, not just sell you the parts. So great, I'm Neil Barker. Thanks for watching.